Hi, Hogziller here, and I'm going to be covering in this video today Railroad Tycoon 3, the um, scenario Southern Pacific. So, in this particular video, I actually played the game without any narration, and I'm just adding in what I was doing to complete the scenario, as this is one of the harder scenarios in the Railroad Tycoon 3 game. What you are trying to do in this mission is two parts. You're trying to build from Los Angeles to El Paso, and then supposedly the other railroads are supposed to get to El Paso, but they do not. So then you must build from El Paso to Wichita and El Paso to New Orleans. So there's not many videos out on this subject, so I'm just going to narrate what I did to complete this mission. So the first thing you're seeing on screen is I'm trying to find a viable industry to go with. And in this case, I found logs the best. I know there's one other video I found on the subject where they attempt via oil, but I found that the logs are a better route. So what I'm doing is I'm going to build the lumber mill and then try and buy up as many logging camps as possible. So you're going to see a couple key things I'm doing early on is first I am issuing stock, and then I am increasing my debt through bonds. So early on, you just want to keep doing stock and bonds, stock and bonds, stock and bonds, and try and buy up as much industry, because one of the requirements later is going to be a book value of your company. And at least one of the other companies that are out there is going to have a lot of industry, and so they're going to have a high book value. And if you don't buy a lot of industry early on, then you're not going to have the book value requirement, and you're going to come up short for the gold. So that's why I'm trying to buy as much as possible, build up my book value, build up my industrial holdings. Another thing I should have done early on is gotten rid of my dividend, because stock is not important for this. This mission early on is more like the Mexico scenario for Railroad Tycoon 3, where you buy a lot of industry with iron and coal and steel on that map. Well, here I like to stick with logs. Eventually I'll work my way into textiles or any other viable industries. I will buy oil, but it won't be the primary industry I'm trying to use. So hopefully I won't have to narrate over this whole video, and you can just watch on how I completed this scenario. But I'm in the industry phase, which I will continue to do until 1871 or around that time, at which point I will build my line, getting the sections of track as I build further east. So I'm gonna race ahead right now to through each of the years, just continue stocking bonds, until just before 1871. I might try and pay down that debt, because you're gonna need about 10 million to build the railroad across the Southwest. So I think I'm just going to hop off for a little bit here, and I'm going to hop on and off as I notice things that I did in this particular scenario. So I'm trying to upgrade my lumber mill since there are a number of logging camps nearby, and I need 845,000 to upgrade the lumber plant so that I can get the maximum 10 per year. And I really want to get these logging camps early on because they're at their minimum. It's like 140,000 at their minimum, especially when they're losing money like that. As the log demand goes up around and the logs get consumed by the lumber mill, then they'll start getting to 200,000, 300,000, so on and so forth. So now I'm trying to identify additional places where I can maybe build additional industries, including a textile mill. One thing I will say is if you're going the lumber route, if you don't have a good cluster of logging camps, just stop, go back to the main menu, start again, have it generate another map as the industries are regenerated each time. So I'm just going to add a textile mill here, as there was a good concentration of wool in the area, the southeast of the map. But here's an oil well. Like I mentioned, I want to get these early on because they're 320,000, and they'll probably bring in about 200K a year, especially early on. So I should be hopping back here and going with the textile mill. Just trying to figure out where to place it here to capture the most places that'll use it. Time to buy up the sheep farms, build up a little book value, plus I'll get some money when they start getting more money for the sheep they're producing. Just a little history as we wait here. So I've been trying to go through all the campaign and all the scenarios for Railroad Tycoon 3. It's something I've actually never attempted before. Just select scenarios I've always liked to play on this game. And I got through all of the campaigns and scenarios except this one. And I've tried multiple attempts. I tried the oil strategy that the one other YouTuber suggested, but I did put it out on Steam asking about how to complete this mission, and I'm glad that a very helpful user pointed out the log strategy. So this video here actually is the completion of the Railroad Tycoon 3 series to get through all the missions. I'm not so worried about debt as much as just trying to build book value. I'm trying to get as much industry in there to bring money in, and then I can use that money that I'm bringing in later to to pay off these debts that I'm accumulating right now. Because there will be plenty of time later to pay off, as long as you have enough money to go from Los Angeles all the way to El Paso, and then El Paso to connect up with the Wichita line and connect up with the New Orleans line, then you're fine. So I'm just going to try and buy some livestock ranches here, a meat plant or two, and then I'm going to try and pay down a little bit of this debt so that I have enough to build the railroad line. I'm just shocked that the railroad line ain't the main importance of this mission. It's really, honestly, it's industry, and make the necessary connections and build up your book value through industry. I know an alternative strategy I was working on before the logging strategy was to try and buy enough stock in either the Texas Railway or the New Orleans Railway to the point where you can take over, not through a merger, but through taking over as chairman of the railway, because I noticed that they set up that railway where in the scenario set up that they get like 9,999,999 track segments. So I thought maybe I could take over that railway, have that railway make all the connections necessary, and then somehow take my Southern Pacific Railway back as chairman. But I just never could. I could always get like the first part to happen where I could take over the New Orleans Railway, but then I could never take over the my own railway back, and so I would not be able to fulfill the criteria of the mission. So I'm really glad that the other user out on Steam pointed me towards the log strategy, and then I just decided I needed to buy as much industry as possible, because I tried it right away. I got the connections, but I just never could get the book value, and I realized that I just needed to be buying at a frivolous and furious pace as much industry as possible while maintaining enough to build the railway, buy the track extensions that you'll see after we get to El Paso. But here I've built my meat packing plant, and now I am going to try and upgrade that. I just actually upgraded that, and that should bring in a nice amount of profit. I got to start looking at here, hopefully soon, paying off some of this debt, but I'm not sure if I'm going to buy a few more things here. So let's just watch what happened here. Here I'm just trying to pay down the debt on the highest interest rate bonds first. That way when payments come due, I'm taking less of a hit in the interest amount by paying off the 12s and the 11s first. Just trying to buy up the cattle ranches there. As you can see, they bring in about 200,000 a year, and if you have 4 of them there, that's at least 800,000. Probably now more that there's a meat packing plant nearby, so there'll be a higher demand and higher price. So I'll probably be bringing in 3, 4, even 500,000 per livestock as we go along here. You could see that the textile mill is starting to get overrun. You saw there was a large stack of stuff backing up there, so I decided I'm going to add some bonds and build a second textile mill, as leaving money out on the table like that really doesn't make sense. I should be able to easily make money and hopefully only have a small backlog in there. Now what I'm trying to do here is I've noticed that I'm at the AAA credit rating level, which means I am near the prime rate of 5 or 6%. And so I want to get all those 10%, 9%, 10% bonds out of there and switch them over to 5% bonds. I know that you do pay a 2% early repayment fee, underwriting fee, each way, but it's worth it when the interest rate is as high as it is. So that's why I try to knock down that interest rate there. And now I'm just going to try and pay off until 1871, so I have enough money to build my Los Angeles to El Paso. So as you can see, I almost have this debt paid down on. Just got two loans outstanding. I'm going to try and buy a little more industry here. See if I can further build up my book value. I know besides the New Orleans and the Texas railways, I know there's one up there called like Chicago and Rock Island and Denver. I don't know actually what the purpose of those railways are. If they're like red herring railways to kind of distract you and maybe try and buy them. Because most of the time when I played this scenario, they will generally fail. So I guess I don't know what the purpose of those railways are. Maybe to throw you off the track, make the mission harder than it actually is. But as you can see here, we're coming up on 1871. I just trying to build up a little book value while I finally paid down the rest of my debts. So now I have a full complement of debts at should be all at the AAA rate of 5%. To build this railway line that's going to be coming up here. I'm trying to build get some book value here, so I'm looking at this dairy farm. I think I do buy it, even though it's heavily overpriced. I'm surely just trying to build up book value here. Um, Maybe I didn't buy it. I know I thought I bought some dairy farms later just to keep building up book value and getting industrial profit in. So I'm at 1871. I can't remember if I did this in 71 or 72 here. I think I did it in 71 here. Looks like I'm getting ready to start to build out from Los Angeles. So here I'm trying to build this railway as direct as possible. As direct as possible for as cheaply as possible. So besides any necessary bridges over rivers, I'm building no bridges. And I'm only going to build one tunnel on this entire route, and it's actually right here by San Diego to Mexicali. So I'm trying to build this tunnel as cheap as possible. Just $2,600,000 is a pretty good rate. So now I'm trying to connect as cheaply as possible to Yuma. I know you can go north to like Palm Springs, Desert Center, and I forgot what cities in the mountains there. And that's what I used to always try and do, is go north and not do the tunnel because I thought it was too expensive. But I did not with this. And I haven't for a long time gone north through the mountains. It's actually just better to build the tunnel through and connect to Mexicali. Now I'm trying to build across to Gila Bend there, and then have enough to get to Phoenix. That's kind of like Phoenix is like a little minor hub for when I add trains later. The couple trains I do add, as you'll see, the newspapers are really delayed for some reason when connecting to cities. I'm trying to do this as cheap as possible, but on some of these more minor hubs, I'll probably throw a medium in there. So as you can see, I have 468 track segments to build at least to the next city there, Tucson, and I'm going to need to go to Silver City. So I'm trying to figure out how to get to Tucson here as quickly and cheaply as possible. I don't even build the water towers or the maintenance sheds until I am all the way to El Paso or Carlsbad. So I'm just trying to figure out how to do this as cheaply as possible. It's kind of hard because they want to build, if I didn't have the tunnels set to never, they want to build bridges and tunnels to connect these cities after the Phoenix part of the track. So this is actually a tricky part. This is where you'll do a lot of undoing to try and do this as efficiently as possible. I will go around that kind of lump in the mountain. I will do that. Just because when you have trains running, it will make them very inefficient. This is where it definitely tries to do a tunnel from here to Silver City. And I know there's just, you gotta hit it just right. So I'm just trying to figure out right now what I need to do to build the Silver City. I'm a little short on cash, so I am taking on some bonds. Okay, so I got through this little part here. I'll make the turn into Silver City. And now, this next part after Silver City here, after I build some stations, is actually going to be a real tricky portion. Because you need to just clip the next city to get the track segments. But you don't want to try and bridge into the city. You want to stay on the left side of the river. So this La Cruces, I just want to stay on the left side and then bridge, either keep following the river down and then make an immediate 90-degree turn into El Paso, or keep kind of going straight past Las Cruces. And I'm once again having some trouble, as you can see, trying to build the ideal path. But here's a necessary bridge. I go across there, get to El Paso, make my 90-degree turn, so I can build the Carlsbad portion. But now I'm going to build the station, a medium station, just to clip that city. And now I'm going to build the El Paso portion. Now you get the mentioning that, hey, the other railways didn't fulfill their obligation to El Paso. How about you guys do it? So now you're not going to get... there'll be a couple cities here where you'll get railway segments for connecting to the city. But eventually it's going to stop. And as you keep heading further east, you're going to have to rely on the government giving you the option to buy railway segments. And you have until 1884 to connect to both Wichita and New Orleans. And how you do that is you're just going to use your competitor's line. You're just going to connect just like I'm doing on screen here. And that'll count for Wichita. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to have to truck it eastward and connect to the closest point of the New Orleans Railway. And I forgot what city I connect to in this scenario eastward. But you generally want to go eastward from like Hobbs, cut across, try and get close to Waco. It really all depends on how the computer has done and what the easiest point. I think there's like Nachos is right there on the screen. Is one point I've seen. Alexandria is another point I've connected to. I'm just checking right now to see how far the computer got. They did not get far with that railway. As you can see, they only connected to 3 other cities besides New Orleans. So that's not good at all. I have a lot of distance to actually cover when I did this one. And then you just want to try and connect to some of the cities along the way and create branch lines for them. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the watering towers and the maintenance sheds on my other line. And then you'll usually end up with 2 to 3 lines. I'll try and create one train that goes from Los Angeles to Phoenix, stopping at each of the cities along the way. And then I'll create another train that goes from Phoenix to El Paso. And that'll be the second train. Then I'll create some kind of El Paso to Carlsbad to Hobbs or Clovis, depending on how far that Wichita line got. That'll be a third train, and then there might be another train that goes to Abilene or Waco or however I'm creating the line eastward from the Wichita line. But as you can see right now, I am just creating the support services here for my trains. I really try and space them out because there's really not that many trains, and I don't want to be wasting a lot of maintenance dollars on watering towers and maintenance sheds. So as you can see here, I am adding the couple trains. You're not going to make a lot of money off of these trains. So I don't try and put too much stock into these trains, even though obviously it's a railway game. But just like the Mexico scenario, industry is the king. Though later on with the Mexico scenario, you do build like pretty sufficient railways when you're able to get into America. In that scenario, here railways are just the rail is important. So here I'm just trying to size up how am I going to connect this all together, and I'm kind of regretting a little bit how I decided to connect this. I'd say I should have probably connected this a little lower, closer to Odessa, so I could branch off of that, but I thought, oh, well, I might as well just go for it here. You do get more track line when you connect to El Paso. You get like 2 million, plus you get a whole bunch of segments of track, and so I used some of that to connect to the Wichita line, and now I'm using some of that now to start making my eastward journey. Looks like I'm going to connect through Sweetwater. I'm trying to do this as in straight of a line as humanly possible. Eventually, I think I'll drag and look all the way over to the point where I'm gonna want to connect, and that way when my mouse like hovers over Alexandria, I know I don't have enough segments to get there, but then when I let go of the mouse, I know the rail line over here in Texas will be on a straight path to connecting to the New Orleans rail line. It's kind of a hard concept to explain, but I'm just trying to build it as straight as possible, while trying to hit as many cities as possible. So really now the objective at this point is to pay down debt, have at least $1 million by the end of every year, because what it'll do is you can either be offered 25, 50, 75, or 100 track segments, and it's first based on how much money you have. So if you only have 800,000, then only the 25, 50, and 75 will be have a chance to be offered to you. After it determines your maximum dollar amount you can spend on rail, then it goes through a random number generator, and it's something like between 0 and 100, and if the number comes up between 1 and 60, you get the 100 track segment offered to you. If it's something like the next like 20, like 61 to 80, you get 75 offered to you. Then 80 to 90 is 50, and then 90 to 100 is 25. So the best chance you have to get for track segments is 100, as long as you have the money. Else it'll go up to the next highest amount that you can get. So for the most part, you should see that I will get a lot of hundreds, but I'm fairly sure I get some 75s along the way. I know some people will just build it up as they go along, but I like to add my track just to see if I'm kind of on the right track. I don't want to end up kind of short and I kind of screwed up. Here, at least I'll know I'm kind of on the straight path. So I'm still adding stock and bonds. I'm adding stock because company, the stock value doesn't mean anything. Only book value matters. So that's why I keep adding companies, which will add to my equity, which then they'll be making profit, which will add to my money, which adds to my book value, which allows me to buy more businesses, which adds to my book value for industry, so on and so forth. So, and I'll keep doing that until like October or November. Then I'll just hang on to the money and see how much I have, so I have enough for the track purchase. That's the key for this whole mission, is the track purchase. So I got another 100 segment, which is good. As long as I just keep making money here and get the track segments, we should be in pretty good shape. I'm just trying to figure out here. Here's where I'm talking about where I'm going to drag, figure out. I must let go of the mouse there, but I'm dragging to see what the closest point is, and if I keep on that path, I should be on a straight line to connect. But I might run into that bridge there over the river north of Waco, so I'm just trying to figure out the path here. But I'm also trying to figure out along the way approximately when I would connect to the New Orleans Railway, and see if there's any, if I can take a small little detour here. I want to go over the river, approximately where my mouse is. I want to go over the river there. So I'll just keep buying up businesses and adding stock and paying back any debt. So as you can see, I'm just doing this all on 3 trains. No use in getting many trains. They're not profitable enough. They'll actually probably suck your resources away. As you can see, I did get only a 75 segment there. Instead of the 100 track segments, so I trying to figure out if I'm going to be able to get over the river. At that point, I'm just going to keep buying industries, and we'll deal with building on a little later here. I'm just trying to build up that book value. I think I am competing against the Chicago and Rock Island Railway. I forgot which railway had the most industries, or if it was the Texas one. I know it wasn't the New Orleans one, because they only had like 4 cities they connected to. I'm just trying not to get below 1 million before year end here. Another 100 track segment, so that's good news. Now I'm going to start making some kind of bigger purchases, especially when I connect, or I'm close to connecting to the New Orleans Railway. I'll start making some like massive purchases of milk farms and just buying anything I can to keep my book value up. So now I'm getting to the point where now I have more money than I know what to do with at some points. Just trying to get enough track segments to build across here. I'm up to 250, as you can see. So I'm just trying to build across here enough to get across the river and then get across Nacho Juicy there. I'm sure I am definitely saying that incorrectly. I'm just looking here to say, oh, okay, so I have about 8 years left, and I have that far to go to connect. Just checking to see if I still have the highest book value there, and it said yes, which is a good thing, so I'm just going to keep trying to purchase as many items as possible here. As you can see, now I'm really getting a lot of money off of my stock, which allows me to really build up my book value, which allows me to get more money off of stock. It's almost a vicious circle. But the key is you got to keep buying industry because the AI companies are definitely still buying industries to build up their book value to take you down. So I got another track segments. I'm just trying to figure out here, do I want to build a brewery here? I can't remember if I did or not. I think it wasn't viable enough. I'm just trying to see what other industries I can add. If I need to buy up a bunch of resources, or can I build some processing centers for some of these resources? And you know, you got too much money when you're at the point where you can just start buying dairy farms. I'm trying to assess, do I want to try and connect to that city and add another fourth train to this line? Just not sure. I'm just able to buy industries at will at this point. I'm having enough money come in every second to buy these grains and produce and cotton places. I think it is the Chicago, Rock Island, and Pacific I was up against for book value. It's always one of the three, Chicago, Rock Island, New Orleans, or Texas railways that will succeed in this mission. And that's what you're going up against for book value. Then I think it's something like the Santa Fe Railway and the Denver Western are the two that always seem to fail. So I got another 100. I'm just going to look again, see if I can build with my 199 track segments. I'm just trying to build as straight of a line to Alexandria as possible. In a couple years, I should have enough track to get there. I think I get it like a 75 the next year, so I fall short. But in the meantime, I'm going to build a large railway here. A junction railway, and build up a little infrastructure, and then add another railway. I'll add a Duke train here. I almost make a mistake by selecting the wrong city. I should have selected the junction, but luckily I catch it. And now I can just build the rest of the infrastructure here. Like I mentioned before, I am just able to buy industries at will. And that's what I'm basically doing for the first 3 quarters of the year is I'm just buying industries to keep up my book value. And I know I've reiterated book value enough but I say that because I've gotten through a couple times to where I connected to New Orleans, and then I'm a little bit off on book value, and the computer is able just to keep buying industries at the same rate as me, and I fall just short by the time you get to 1884. So once you kind of establish that you are ahead in book value, then you just want to keep going with it, because if you don't sit there and buy industries, the computer will. And that's why I keep checking my book to see if I have the highest book value. The only way I can really think of how to do that is to keep buying industry. And I did get 100 there, not a 75. I could have swore I got a 75, but what I'm going to do here is come up just short. I need another 25 segments roughly. So I have to wait another year, so I'm going to keep buying industries. And here I can just about buy them at will, because I have about all the money in the world here. I know corn farms are usually pretty good later in the map for profit. That's why I usually like to buy corn farms. But as you can see, they bring in about 75 to 100,000. I'm just trying to find anything that I can buy here. I'm just gonna try and get the stock here. As you can see, it brought in $5 million, so I can buy whatever I want here. So I'm just buying the most expensive items possible that are profitable to add to my book value. There's 100. I don't even need 100. So I'm just gonna build the last part here to complete out this mission and take the gold. So as I mentioned before, there's always a delay on this stuff, so you're going to build this, and if you have the highest book value, eventually it will say gold here. So I think we're heading to the end of this video here, so if you like what you've seen in this video, hit that thumbs up button. If you have a question on this scenario, please leave a comment below, and please consider subscribing. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.